Barcelona's stunning comeback against Atletico Madrid, what Lamine Yamal created yesterday, Juventus once again humiliated in the eyes of all Italy. This time the old lady was offended by Fiorentina. Bayern continues to perform miracles. The team managed to win, flying through the match with a score of 1-3. And Brazilian fans are destroying Neymar for his questionable behavior. We're talking about this and much more today. Friends, this is a dose of football and the top 10 hottest news at this hour. Friends, I offer you a deal. Give it 5,000 likes. Today, and until the end of March, we are working without days off. Well, how about that? In my opinion, it's fair. And of course, following our good tradition, I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Manchester United is preparing a sensational transfer of a golden ball contender who can restore the team's former greatness. After all, she is now lacking one important thing to achieve the goals set by the management, namely character. There are only a few footballers in the Manchester United squad who try to fight no matter what. I would personally single out Bruno Fernandes, Lisandro Martinez and Amada Diallo. The latter two have been out of action for a long time and won't be able to help the team in the near future. But that's just a comment on the situation. All the other footballers are coming out on the field to draw a number. At least that's the impression. The team lacks character and confidence that they can beat their opponent. That's why we often see Manchester United players chewing on straws instead of getting together and pushing everyone forward with their feet. Manchester United's management is interested in Brazilian player Rafinha, whose profile is well known. He's an unstoppable youngster who's always flying to score, regardless of the result on the scoreboard, and never forgives himself for missed opportunities. The Brazilian always wants to develop and help the team, and such a player will undoubtedly appeal to Ruben Maramu, as the philosophy of the Portuguese coach is the same as Rafinha's attitude towards football. Every day you need to work above and beyond and always give your maximum, no matter what achievements you had in the past. That's why the management wants to invite the Brazilian to strengthen the fighting spirit of the team. But if Manchester United's desire is clear, then some oddities start to occur. Football London Portal reports that the Red Devils are ready to offer Barcelona just £60 million. And I'll remind you that a year ago Rafinha refused to move to a Saudi club for £100 million. But that was a different Rafinha, a pale shadow of his current self. That is, Man United wants to buy one of the main contenders for the Golden Ball for just £60 million. This is something strange. Barcelona may need money, but not so much as to lose one of the team's best players. I see no sense for the Catalans to sell Rafinha for such money, unless John Laporta gets something into his head and he starts pressuring the footballer and forcing him to accept the offer for reasons only he knows. The president of Barca doesn't always understand the meaning of the word practicality. Atletico Madrid is saying goodbye to its longtime leader. This season will be the last for Antoine Griezmann in the jersey of the mattress makers. The question is practically resolved. Authoritative journalist Mateo Moreto from the Relevo portal reported this. The Frenchman has long been contemplating the end of his European career and has always looked towards Major League Soccer. He is drawn to the world's best sports culture in America, especially American basketball. Griezmann was often seen at matches. He's a big fan of the Brooklyn Nets, for which Kevin Durant played. It was this basketball player who announced Griezmann's move to Barcelona a few years ago. The Frenchman also likes the National Football League, and he doesn't just watch. He also understands this sport well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been invited to comment on one of the matches. The source confirms that the decision was made for family reasons, but what this means, they do not explain. I had to go into these internets myself and look for the answer. In short, what I managed to find out, Griezmann once stated that he would like to play in the Major League Soccer before ending his career. It appears that moment has arrived. He explained his decision to move to America by the fact that he has a wife and 3 children. Apparently, his family is looking forward to the possible trip to the States. And his children speak English well, so there should be no language problems. It's clear that Griezmann wants to move to the United States of America based on his current position. And what does Atletico think about this? Well, everything is simple here. The mattress makers' management respects the Frenchman for his dedication and self-sacrifice, so they do not intend to hinder their leader's departure. Griezmann responds in kind. He will be laying out until the last minute and hopes that the team will win the trophy at the end of the season. And in the coming days, there should be a decisive meeting where the parties will discuss the details of the Frenchman's transfer. But where will Griezmann transfer to? He said a little earlier that he supports the Brooklyn Nets from New York. However, the upcoming move will be far away from this city. He is planning to play for the Los Angeles Galaxy, where his former France national team partners Olivier Giroud and Hugo Lloris are already playing. Possibly it was the presence of these two that made Griezmann settle his choice on the team from the West Coast. Social media exploded after the news about Neymar's latest injury. Due to his new injury, he faced a strong wave of criticism from fans. The thing is, fans of the Brazil national team have already missed their leader. He was gone for a long time, the team completely faded without him, the results were simply disastrous, and now everyone was counting on him to make a sensational return and lead the team. Social networks to bring the Brazil national team to the gold medals at the World Championship. But he won't be able to do this if he continues to drag his feet in the Lazaretto. As it turned out, just before the international break, he got a new injury and he was ruled out of the national team's squad. This upset the fans. In Santos, Neymar is showing good football and he should have gone to the World Cup qualifying matches. He was set to face Argentina and Colombia, two of the strongest teams in South America right now. It was a good opportunity to test the Brazilian's commitment to his words. But a couple of days before the trip to the team's location at Mar, he got injured again. And this could have happened under dubious circumstances. What I'm saying is, it could have happened. Yes, because this news is due to a barrage of information on the covers. The tabloid press, it seems, is too scandalous, contrived so to speak. According to some data, Neymar could have been injured when he hosted a party in his room, inviting their, let's say, representatives of the oldest profession. Imagine if this is really the case. In such a case, this injury would top the list of the most foolish injuries in football history. That's why fans are angry at Neymar. Instead of preparing for national team matches, he continues to party. He is now being called to end his career. Some even resort to noble motives, so that their favorite would no longer harm himself and not play on the nerves of the fans. After all these injuries are not good for health. But what do you think? Should Neymar hang up his boots? Or should he still try to go out with the Brazilian team to the World Cup? Barcelona risks being left without one of the most talented footballers of the generation, who is dazzling all of Europe with his play. Of course, we're talking about Lamine Yamal, a young player who debuted for the club at 16 and immediately became one of the team's leaders. His debut and rapid growth, it's worth noting, was facilitated by a double betrayal on the part of Blaugrana's representatives. The first is the betrayal of Joan Laporte, who failed to bring back Lionel Messi despite all the promises. The second is the betrayal of Ousmane Dembele, who at the last moment expressed a desire to move to Paris Saint-Germain. Both factors led to the fact that there was simply no one to play on the right flank of the attack, and it was necessary to pull out a talent from the academy. But who expected him to play so well? In fact, now Barcelona fans don't even have to mourn either Messi's departure or Dembele's departure. Even more so. Yamal is now considered a contender for the Golden Ball. In a recent poll of the French portal, fans decided that the Spaniard should be on the podium during the awards ceremony, that is, take at least third place. But there is a chance that he will already represent another club. Spanish media reports that Saudi League representatives are targeting Lamine Yamal. The specific name of the club is not mentioned, but it's all run by the same people there, so it doesn't even matter. There are also no details. However, what can the Saudi rulers offer? Barcelona won't let Lamine go, as it means mountains of money for both the club and the player. Joan Laporta has already proven this, refusing to sell Yamal in passage for 20 million. So clubs from Saudi Arabia will have to offer significantly more if they really want to shake the confidence of the Barcelona president. The same applies to the actions regarding the player himself. Yamal aims to emulate Lionel Messi's success and excel in top-level European football. As soon as he turns 18, he plans to sign a long-term contract with the Catalans. Therefore, it will be difficult to lure the player with money. As you can see, the chances of his transfer are approaching zero if we rely on the existing information. But we don't know what the Saudi grandees are ready for the transfer of Yamal. What if they give an amount for him that is equal to the annual gross domestic product of a small state? And if billions of euros will be involved in the deal, then the ambitious Laporta may not withstand it. More precisely, I bet my head that he will sell Lamine. Real Madrid plans to break the transfer record again to strengthen the defense. Finally, Slivovna's fans have been anticipating this moment. In the current season, Madrid had a lot of problems with the defense line. All the main players were traumatized. Some even flew out for an extended period. When Nacho and Eder Militao were injured, Carlo Ancelotti had to take drastic measures and activate a player from the club academy. But Raúl Asensio beautifully replaced the fallen Militao. Real's defensive personnel issue persists, as injuries are expected to continue next season. This means that Florentino Perez needs to spend money in the summer window on defenders, and not only. But now we are talking specifically about the defensive line footballers. We have all seen before how the president of Real behaved quite stingily in the transfer market. Just think, over the last 5 seasons, he has spent less than he did in the summer window of 2019. Due to the coinciding corona crisis and unsuccessful reconstruction of Santiago Bernabeu. But the club's finances are gradually improving, and we may soon see a more generous version of the president. There is a chance that the Madrid team will start bringing the team into optimal form with the purchase of a defender. Moreover, this will not be an ordinary transfer, but a record one right away. According to the portal information, Real Madrid is targeting Leipzig player Costello Lucaba. We once discussed the interest of the oil-rich in the French defender, but his transfer value turned out to be prohibitively high at the time. The relationship has changed slightly, but not because the oil-rich discovered a treasure that instantly solved their financial issues. During this time, we managed to convince ourselves that Real's defender is really needed. But let's move on to the most interesting part. How much will Leipzig ask for the young Frenchman? Since it's a record, don't be surprised. Leicub's transfer could cost Real up to 90 million euros, exactly the same amount Manchester City paid for Joško Gvardiol. By the way, Horvat also transferred from Leipzig, so don't doubt the German club's ability to sell its assets expensively. Whether this amount is justified is hard for me to say. Let Real Madrid's sports department deal with this question. But the Madrid team will definitely have to buy someone this summer. Real Madrid beat Villarreal, but the losses looked very heavy. After 4 times in the Champions League, Kylian Mbappe miraculously secured a win, but even he admitted that playing 2 days after the Champions League is extremely challenging. Carlo Ancelotti has put La Liga on ultimatum. This is the last time Real played without a 72-hour rest. We will never do this again. La Liga twice denied their requests for a postponement. Another game like this with no rest and we won't make it on the field. Real is putting pressure on La Liga authorities again, but this time I'm on the side of Madrid. Of course, everyone suffers from the schedule, not just Slivovci. It's not always worth getting upset about this. But what prevented La Liga from scheduling the match on Sunday, not Saturday? Of course, there was only one game that Osasuna could have been replaced against Getafe. But apparently La Liga believes that Takmir will miss the games of Athletic, Sociedad, Betis and Seville. And that's a hefty chunk of the audience. In Spain, they usually avoid scheduling series simultaneously with others. But sometimes you have to think about the health of the players and also about the quality of the content. Because watching a gasping Madrid is not so pleasant, unless you hate merengues. But there is one thing that confuses in the complaint of the Royal Club. Carlo Ancelotti's words contradict the La Liga indicators. The championship announced that since February 25th, when the schedule for the current segment of the season became known, Real said nothing about the calendar. Also, the league management asserts that in the past, requests for schedule changes were made in a timely manner and they were satisfied. That is, Real is to blame for the situation itself. If you believe La Liga, then the Madridistas deliberately wanted to create a scandal, which doesn't sound very plausible. Still, the collection of points is more important than the opportunity to salt Javier Tebas one more time. Arsenal destroyed Chelsea without any chances. The Gunners beat the Pensioners 1-0, but don't believe him, he's lying. There was only one team on the field. Arsenal dominated in the best traditions. Mikel Arteta's Chelsea attack simply couldn't do anything. The Blues didn't even touch the ball in the penalty box. Arsenal's only goal was scored from a corner. Yes, the corner worked again, but Arsenal had enough opportunities even without it. Robert Sanchez, as it turns out, can not only drive, but also save. Besides him, there's no one to note in Chelsea, in Arsenal as a whole too, but the reasons are different. If the Blues seem to have arrived in a disassembled state, then Arsenal, on the other hand, looked monolithic. All the players excelled. If Arsenal hadn't won, their fans would surely question the referee's decisions. Salif Fofana stepped on Declan Rice, who was lying down, and also flew into his shin, and he fell less roughly twice. But the centre-back Pensov only got a yellow for kicking the ball away. Why he stayed on the field until the end of the match is a mystery to me personally. I still don't believe in Arsenal's victory in the Premier League, but Bandarte is more than capable of getting on my nerves. Such a reliable defensive game, as seen against Chelsea, will pose significant challenges for Real Madrid in the Champions League. Yesterday, 2 London derbies took place simultaneously. Arsenal defeated Chelsea, while Fulham beat Tottenham 2-0. Enes Postecoglou's rotation suggests he's focusing on the Europa League, as the team in the PPL has nothing left to play for. Indeed. Looking at the results, the slump in the championship and the gloomy mood of the club's fans, I'm not sure that even a victory in the Europa League will save Postecoglou from dismissal. Liverpool has won the League Cup. Yes, in the final, of course. Almost the main squad came out, but it's still a loss. The players with Kauzerov seemed not to want to beat Newcastle United. Was not cunning. Eddie Howe did not come up with something super original to win. Liverpool players just didn't show passion. Except for Chiesa. But this is even a telling moment, as Slotty hardly let Fida near the big matches, and his actions made it clear that he doesn't see a future for the Italian in Liverpool. Chiesa not only scored yesterday, but also won 4 out of 4 one-on-ones, and also earned 3 fouls. And he only appeared on the field at the 74th minute. And it was the only bright spot in yesterday's game of Merseyside. All that Newcastle was stronger with was the desire to win. Soroka had it, Liverpool did not. Did the Champions League exit affect? Well, of course it did. In addition to this, Salah stopped scoring and leading the team, and he is the leader. They count on him. Besides, the problem is also in the number of matches Liverpool has to play every 3 to 4 days. Out of the last 11 games, the team only surpassed the opponent in the number of sprints in 3. Newcastle often outran Liverpool. Sorok had a straightforward strategy: kick the ball to the flank, approach the penalty area, and cross it. And that was enough for victory. A shameful, weak and reckless game of the scouts. But still, we should praise Newcastle, who took their first trophy in 70 years. Eddie Howe became the first English coach in 16 years to win a trophy with an APL club. For Newcastle, this cup is much more important than it is for Liverpool. Of course, the Red fans would have liked to win, not to mention the players, but for the Magpies, this is a fairy tale. Or rather, it's beginning, considering the ambitions of the Saudi owners. Juventus lost again. This time, it was a crushing defeat with a score of 3-0. Fiorentina mocked at Allianz Stadium. Fiorentina fans knew all about Juve's game even before the match started, and then they organized the performance, calling Juventus trash. Honestly speaking, Zebra's football in recent matches reeks of a coach's failure. It's visible that Moto is getting old, adjusting to every opponent, but the team just doesn't play. It seems like Thiago has crossed the line with public criticism of the players, although it seems more like a rookie mistake of footballers. Juventus Thiago is a great coach, you don't have to worry about him. Even if he finds a rough patch with Juventus, he'll settle in and achieve success there. But I'm somehow scared for the old lady. The club already has economic problems, and now there's a hint of the coach's dismissal. In addition to compensation, they'll have to appoint a new coach and adjust the team to him. Juve lacks the resources. Yesterday in Italy, the championship's fate was likely decided. Napoli messed up, so I'm talking about the Atalanta and Inter match, which was left behind in Bergamo. Mega stylish, intense, but never impulsive football. The middle of the Ace series, a tactical duel with completely different approaches. In Gasperini and Inzaghi, the victory went to Simone, but only one player is to blame. Both teams showed outstanding play until Ederson was sent off for arguing with the referee after a yellow card, and that was it. The outcome of the match was decided. It's a pity. Was the game that tight before this? In Germany, the title race has tightened. Bayern dropped points against Union, while Bayern narrowed the gap by beating Ash Utgard. Yes, during the course of the match, Leverkusen fell behind with a score of 1-3, but they managed to turn the tide and finish the match with a score of 4-3. Patrick Schick scored the winning goal on the 94th minute. It seems like he finishes every Bayer comeback. The pharmacists were fortunate with the realization, but that doesn't diminish their impressive victory. In League One, there was no intrigue and never has been. But to put the last nail in the coffin of the championship race, the passenger also took out Marseille. With a 3-1 score, Ousmane Dembele scored again. He's unstoppable right now. The golden ball could be won by Mbappe, Salah, Rafinha or Yamal for all you know. Reviews of all the top matches from yesterday, and there were a lot of them, can be found on our Telegram channel. The link to the Telegram is in the description in the pinned comment. I'm waiting for all of you on fire. Be sure to take a look. Atletico Madrid Barcelona, a real championship match of two contenders for the first place, where each team tried to win 3 points no matter what. First, it's worth mentioning Atletico Madrid, who played their toughest match against Real Madrid midweek. This trip turned out to be not easy, both from a physical and psychological point of view. And just 3 days later, they had to face Barcelona. Athletic was expected to sit back, stall until the end, and try to snatch at least 1 point to stay in the race. But no, Diego Simeone's men put up such a fight against Flick's team that the latter could have left Madrid in disgrace. But Lady Luck turned to Barcelona just 15 minutes in, and that was enough for them. Let's delve deeper into what happened in this match. The first half was tough, not only for the footballers on the field, but also for the spectators. Watching 20 people fight over a ball for so long is a Herculean task. Although the game was boring for the fans, the first half clearly showed that neither team is willing to give up their position under any circumstances. Barcelona conceded a goal late in the first half, leaving no time to recover before the break. Robert Lewandowski had also missed a fantastic opportunity just a minute earlier, leading to Atletico's attack. The Pole, it seems, remembered this football principle. You don't forget, I remind you. The second half proved more exciting. In the first 30 minutes, Barcelona struggled to break through Atletico's resolute defense. The only one missing on the field of mattress makers was Wojciech Szczęsny. But the Catalans conceded first in the second half. Alexander Sarlo disappointed fans once again, a recurring habit. Then, true madness ensued. In the execution of the guests, they momentarily took away one ball thanks to the playmaker abilities of Niga Martinez and Lewandowski's strike. A couple of minutes later, they equalized the score. Here, Ferran distinguished himself with Rafinha's pass. And just before the end of the game, Lamine Yamal, with a brilliant strike from the penalty spot, put Barcelona ahead. Yes, there was a significant ricochet from the player-athlete, but if you don't hit, you won't get a ricochet. And this 17-year-old Schket took the initiative in such a responsible moment and led the Catalans to a comeback. He was also named the best player of the match, but Rafinha also deserves recognition. He was just everywhere. He took the ball in the defensive zone, and a second later, he was already near the penalty area, Atletico. The Brazilian may not have stood out, but he did so much for his team's victory that I just can't ignore him. And how can I not say a few words about Ferran? He came off the bench and scored a brace against Atletico, and Barcelona definitely needs another forward. With such a beast on the bench, the Catalan sports department answers the question of letting him play. Atletico is losing chances to compete for the title. It's unfortunate for the mattress makers, but that's how it is. They are already 7 points behind due to the losses from Barcelona, and it's very difficult to catch up with the Catalans. That's all for today. Thank you for watching and for subscribing to the channel. My name is Kirill Kast, and this was your daily dose of football. Peace to your house and its hang, friends.